It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot, ain't it? It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot, ain't it? It's getting hot in here.
This is Dropping Dimes podcast. I am Player Agent 3, along with my good brothers, the self-proclaimed mercenary Chucky Brown and the New York City point guard, Mr. Kenny Anderson. We have a special guest today. This guy's a ACC legend. This guy doesn't need an introduction. Mr. Chris Corchiani. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be on here with one of my favorite teammates of all time. And then, Kenny was just, having the opportunity to compete against him was unbelievable. High school legend, came into Georgia Tech and just a fierce competitor. It was really enjoyable watching his career, after he went to the NBA and, having an opportunity to play against him briefly in the NBA. I told him earlier, I said, it's nice to see him, in front because I was chasing behind him. I wish the younger generation knew just how good that guy was.
So what I want to do, what I want to start off with is, since all of you guys played in the ACC, I want each of you guys to just give me one ACC memory, and we can start off with you, Coach.
That's hard to do, but I think I could, state that it was a battle. Every game in the ACC when there was only 8 teams, when you went on the road, it didn't matter if it was a team that was at the bottom or top. There was great players, great teams. Home court advantage was a big deal, but it was just loaded, with great players. And it really was a loaded point guard conference. There was, future NBA players on every team. And it was just, it was so much fun.
Okay. All right, Kenny.
Well, like Chris said, it's a lot of memories, playing in the ACC. But the one memory I have is when we won it. We won the championship. We played Virginia University, John Crotty, and them in the finals, and we pulled that one off, and we won our first ACC championship. And we went on to the 1990 to the Final Four after that. That was a hell of a run we had my freshman year with Dennis Scott, Brian Oliver, myself, Malcolm Mackey, Johnny McNeil, Carl Brown. We had a great team. It was just awesome playing against Virginia in the championship. We won that. So that's a great memory. I will always have that memory.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on both of them and say there's so many memories. Yeah. I think I'll pick a memory. Like I remember, because I got a taste of Lynn Bias. I got a taste of Muggsy.
Wow.
Those guys, Brad Doherty, because I was a freshman. But I think one game that sticks out, the championship was cool and everything, but one game that sticks out, I remember when we were going to play Georgia Tech, and it was like an ice delay or something like that. We had a snow delay.
Yeah, I remember that.
The game was like at 12:15, right? So, and we only took like 8 players, and we got there right before the tip, and the game was on TV. They kind of held it up for us, but that sticks out because that team, my senior year, was probably more together. We weren't like as talented. My junior year was probably my most talented team that I played on in my 4 years, but that team was probably more closer together, and that's why we were picked to finish last, and we finished first in the in the regular season. Wow. So I think that Georgia Tech game sticks out because we had to fly in and we had to get off the plane, go to the gym, and we were all in our warm-ups and everything, ran right on the court and played. So that sticks out in my mind.
Did y'all beat us?
Yeah, we won. You weren't there. You wasn't there. We won. We won. We did win.
Chuck, I remember that game. Vividly. We actually took 6 players, 1 assistant coach, 1 administrator. We there was only like 12 seats on the plane, so half the team got left back. And V kept saying, We're like the Marines. All we need is a few good men, and that was our motto.
Yeah, we played Georgia Tech, and Tom Hammonds was such a problem. You know, so we ran I think it was a triangle 2. We might have turned into a boxing 1 on him, but Coach had to front him, so he couldn't get the ball. So Hammers was pissed off. I mean, he was mad as hell. So he was getting unnecessary fouls. But we had frustrated him so bad because we wouldn't let him get the ball because Tom Hammers was tough. He was tough. You know, he was strong, had a nice jump shot. You know what I'm saying? But we frustrated him by not letting him get the ball. All Coach did was stand in front of him, and he had somebody in front of him and somebody behind him at all times.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember, Kenny. I remember that where Coach D in a timeout.
Yeah.
He said you're going to guard Hammonds, and I looked at him like, are you kidding me? This guy's 6'9", and he said do what you do best. He said try to frustrate the hell out of him.
Yeah.
So I was hitting him in his knees. I was pushing him. And he ended up getting he ended up fouling out. He got a technical foul. That's some people have stories, like you and Chucky, you go off for 30 points. My kind of claim to fame is just frustrating people, but it all worked.
So Coach, I've already talked to Chucky about this, and I want to ask you this: what was it like playing for
Jimmy V was great. He was just so out of the norm. He would come up with things, whether it was on the court, off the court. What he would do about cutting down nets, and he was on the cutting edge of everything. But an unbelievable game coach, and Chucky will tell you this. Our practices, he would just kind of roll the balls out. We would go at it and battle, and there'd be fights and. It was tough, but I wouldn't say he was a great practice coach, but he was a tremendous game coach. You got him those 40 minutes, he would see a mismatch. He would see somebody in foul trouble. Somebody was hot. He made sure they got the ball. He just was, for those 40 minutes, unbelievable. He would always say he would say, if you keep the game close, I'll win it for you in the last four. And we believe that. That was the kind of thing he instilled in all the players. But he was just unbelievable. Then off the court, it was just Comedy Central. Whatever he did, it was just so much fun being around him.
So with Jimmy V being a New York guy, Kenny, did you have any experiences with Jimmy V?
No, I didn't know him. Vincent, when I got into the ACC, I started doing my research a little bit, but I didn't really, know him. But I knew, some of the New Yorkers that went to NC State, Ernie Myers, and he went there, and Lorenzo Charles went there. But I really never got to know him as a coach. But it was funny because when I made it to the pros, the New Jersey Nets was going to hire him. They was going after him, and he didn't take the job. You know what I'm saying? But he was in the mix. He was in the mix.
Hey, Kenny, I'm happy you didn't know Coach B in high school because I was 2 years ahead of you, and I didn't want to be coming off the bench. So I was happy that worked out that way.
Yeah, I understand. My man.
So, Coach, I got to ask you about your sidekick, man, Rodney Monroe. You got the name Fire and Ice. How did that name come to be?
Our sports information director, Mark Bockelman, he was the one that came up with that. And it was fitting because I played with a lot of emotion and Rodney was just so cool and calm. I mean, Rodney would drop 35 on you, not even break a sweat, just never got excited. He just, we had a really good bond. Like a lot of point guards, they have a feel for, just where players are going to be. And I'm sure Kenny had that with Brian Oliver and Dennis Scott. And I had that with a number of players, but, Rodney came in with me as freshmen and over the years, it was just a bond that we really knew kind of where one another was going to be. And Chucky can tell you this firsthand. We didn't always like one another. We had a big fight that Chucky tried to break it up and took one to the chin. So we were always really good on the court. Off the court, it took a little bit of time for us to mesh.
I hear that.
Hey, I got to tell that story. I got to tell. So they get into the fight. So what happened was we had a starting point guard who was a senior. So he saw Chris coming. So he kind of egged that fight on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they got into it. So I didn't, we teammates, man. I'm like, look, we ain't fighting. So they get into it. I get in the middle and I do this right here. And I separate them. So as I'm separating them, I see the fence coming. I see it coming. And bam, it hit me right in the mouth, man. And then they stopped fighting. They stopped fighting and they check on me, which I appreciate. But I had a big ass hole in my lip and I couldn't eat. I had to eat some soup that night, but I was so damn mad. I was so damn mad. But but like you said, they did all that did was like bring them more together. Like Chris knew where Rodney was, and Rodney came off the bench that year because we had Vinny Del Negro. So when Rodney came in, Rodney got his shots up, and we all, and that's what made us a good team. We all accepted that. You know what I'm saying? We all accepted that.
So when we go back, Chris, talking about you and Kenny Anderson, there was a lot of hype. Of course, with Kenny coming out of high school, he was, the top player in the country. What were those battles like with you and Kenny in particularly? And how did you guys game plan for Kenny? And Kenny, how did you guys game plan for Rodney and Chris?
So you go, Chris. You go first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all knew when we were playing Georgia Tech and Kenny came into town. I mean, he was so explosive and he'd get the ball from one end to the other so fast. So you just wanted to try to slow him down. With great players, you're not going to stop them. You want to kind of contain them. You want to limit what they get done. But guarding Kenny, you always knew you had help because he was a main focus. That year, Brian Oliver was somebody that just did so many different things.
Yeah.
But it was really Kenny and Dennis that we would really key on and trying to stay in front of Kenny, which was very difficult. Everybody was helping out. But it was transition. That's the thing. In a half court, you're able to really contain certain players. But, they got the ball, whether it was a made or miss. And Kenny was so fast with the ball, racing it up. You were just trying to protect the basket. But it was difficult. When you're playing against great players, again, you hope to contain them. When they get rid of the ball, I would always try to deny Kenny. I would try to frustrate Kenny. I kind of try to get into him, but he was one that he didn't like that either. So we would go at it a little bit. But great battles, so much fun. Again, that was back in an era where winning and losing really meant something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't see that. And Chucky will tell you, Chucky was, as I say, the greatest teammate. If we lost the game, Chucky wasn't gonna. He controlled the locker room. He wasn't gonna let people joke around and laugh.
Yeah.
But the battles that we had with Georgia Tech were just so much fun.
Yeah. Now Chris, playing him, he's one of my toughest opponents in the ACC. So I knew going into it, at home we had to win. Coach, we had to win our home games in the ACC because on the road it was going to be tough. So I had to be, I knew defensively he was going to be up in me, checking me hard, things of that nature. So, but I had the options, Brian Oliver, Dennis Scott, and I waited. I just ran the offense to flow and till my shot would come and I would take it, get on the break. So certain things he said it made a lot of sense. So on the fast breaks, when we start, that's when I could get him. All the teams that we played against, fast break, I would get it and just go. And that's what, but half court, when they were set, defense, it wasn't nothing to play with. In the ACC, it was a lot tougher back then. And on the other end, offensively with Rodney Monroe and Chris, they were the two duos. It was tough in the ACC, man, back then. So we had to really get our mind set on stopping them guys. And we did. But I believe probably my 2 years at Georgia Tech, and we played them what 4 times. I might have won 2
At
and
least.
lost 2. Lost
Yeah,
2.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. Lost 1, 2, and lost 2, and probably pretty much on the road. Because
Right.
in the ACC that was pretty tough. So we had to win our home games. That's what we had to go 500 somewhere in the ACC to really be a good team back then, because you wasn't gonna get the wins on the road in the ACC back then. It was pretty tough. It was pretty tough.
Yeah, no. Hey, Kenny, one thing I didn't like guarding you, but I'll tell you who I didn't like guarding me was Carl Brown. It was a dog, man.
A dog.
And I had to, he's from Miami, so we played against each other in high school.
Yeah.
That guy was, people don't understand. Again, when I talk about guys that want to win, he wasn't looking to score. He was looking to win and beat you up at the same time.
Yeah. We had a great team that year, man. Everybody did their role. Everybody played their role, and nobody got upset. We were so close, and we still talk to this day, all of us, on that team. It was a great team we had.
But that matchup, though, NC State, Georgia Tech, as I'm thinking about those teams, like you got Brian Oliver, yourself, Dennis Scott, you got Malcolm Mackey, then you got Corchiani, Monroe, and then Gugliotta was starting to sprout back then too. So that's a good matchup right there.
Yeah, that was tough.
That's a good
man.
match. I think maybe Kevin Thompson or one of them came in, I believe.
Yeah.
Fagans.
So that's good matchup. That's a good matchup.
Yeah. The whole ACC was tough. All the teams was tough. It was only 8 teams. It was a real struggle on the road though to get them wins.
Tough. No doubt.
So staying on this ACC theme, and this question is for all you guys. What happened to the ACC? And Chris and Chucky, you can kind of intertwine NC State's demise in that, and Kenny, you can talk about Georgia Tech's downslide as well. But what happened to the ACC? Because back then, NC State, they were pretty good. Georgia Tech, you guys were good.
Chuck started.
Okay. I just think that, me personally, I still get angry seeing Maryland in the Big Ten. I think Maryland should have always been in the ACC. I mean, it's Atlantic Coast. They're right here. They're a founding member of the ACC. And I just think that, it's probably, and maybe those guys that are on these teams that came in, I think it's probably too many teams in there, because I feel like there's no way that NC State, Wake Forest, Carolina, and Duke, they should always play each other twice. Now there's so many teams in the ACC. Now one of those teams you're only going to play one time. I remember there was a time when NC State was playing Duke once. Now I think they play them twice, but now they may play somebody else one time. So I just think that those schools, I think it just got too big. I think it just got too big. But if there's a such thing as too big, but the money is in it now, and that's what it is. But I think I just think it got too big and might be, I don't know, might be a little watered down a little bit now, but just maybe got too big for me. But I really hate that Maryland is not a part of the ACC.
Yeah, I totally agree. The expansion to me really watered down the whole conference. We've talked about 8 teams, 8 great coaches. I mean, unbelievable players. In all those teams, I mean, it didn't matter if you went to Maryland, Virginia, Tech. Their games were sold out. You look at games now, ACC games. You got Florida State, you got Miami, you got Syracuse. Just the geography, to me, doesn't feel right. We had an ACC tournament championship in Tampa, and you could get a ticket for $5. You get a ticket and a free hot dog for $5. I don't like that. As far as NC State, we had some really good teams in the 80s and early 90s, but we got put on probation by the NCAA, which was, we don't have enough time to, it was total bullshit. And
Right.
Chucky can vouch for that. But then when Les Robinson came in, he had limited scholarships, and that was the start of a slow decline. And other teams were just, our neighbors here, Duke and Carolina, they were just beating us like a drum. And it's been a drought for, over 30 years. This year, obviously, they had a remarkable run, but now they have to use that run and try to kind of get back to where we all want to see them. But I think that the expansion of the ACC, I know financially, that's the name of the game, but that ruined what was so special for so many.
Yeah, it's too many different teams in the ACC now, man, and it's about money. It's all about money. Yep. So that's what we got to look at and deal with it, and just move on. And when I was at Tech, we was going, we up and down. It's like a roller coaster, as far as the talent level. Now the NIL deals. It's basketball is a lot different nowadays, and it's hurting some schools. Some schools it's not. The more money you get, the great players that come to you with the NIL deal. That's how it is.
Absolutely.
That's just how it is. And it's been tough. Georgia Tech, we've been down a little bit, but I'm hoping Damon Stoudemire is the new head coach at Georgia Tech. He can get it rolling again. But it's going to take some money and some money to get these kids into Tech with the NIL deals. They're going to have to accept it or move on. And that's what college basketball is all about now. Is getting that talent in, the best of your knowledge, and that's the money. Whoever has the most money, that's where I'll go and play. And
absolutely.
It's sad. It's sad because that's where college ball is at right now. But that's life. It's a lot of money being carried on.
Kenny, I totally agree. There used to be programs. You build a program. Now you're able to build a team in 1 year. And you're not going to see these great programs. You're going to see teams like NC State get to the Final Four because they're going to load up on the money for 1 year and get lucky with good players. But the program building, I think, is going to go by the wayside. You're going to see great teams, but not great programs.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely correct.
I agree. I agree 1,000%.
Real quick, before we move to present day, Chucky and Chris, do you guys feel like, and I know things change with time, evolution of the game, just evolution of life in general, but with over at NC State, with the team moving from Reynolds Coliseum to PNC Arena, do you think that hurt the program?
I do. I think it does. I think it did because there was no more intimidating place. I remember going playing on different teams with played with J.R. Reed in Charlotte, and how he told me how he hated going to Reynolds Coliseum. I remember Kenny Smith telling me the same thing, how they hated coming to Reynolds, and it was like the people were on top of you. I mean, you could, like, when we came up, I remember coming up those steps, and then when you open that door to go there, and then like the students would be there sticking their hands out, and you slapping five, and then you run on that court, and then the light was on. I mean, it was no greater feeling. So I think that did have an effect on it. But I know that was Coach V's vision, was to get into a bigger arena, but there was no greater home court than Reynolds Coliseum to me.
Yeah, I 100% agree. There was a huge advantage when we were playing at home. You can just look at, what the home record was versus away record. And, I had an opportunity, to play with Rick Fox with the Celtics for a year. And Rick said, by far, that was the place they didn't want to go. It wasn't, Duke. It wasn't Maryland. It was, we didn't want to go to Reynolds. And, in my 4 years, Duke had some great teams and won a couple of national championships. Those guys over at Duke in my 4 years never came to Raleigh with a victory. They always took that 15-minute bus ride back with a loss. But yeah, that hurt going to a bigger arena. I wish they could have just renovated Reynolds and kept it at 12,500 or whatever it was. But going to the 20,000 plus, the early season games, non-conference games, it doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. There's not
Right.
really a home advantage other than when Duke and Carolina come in and they sell it out.
Okay.
Miguel,
So
you want to ask Kenny about playing in Reynolds?
Well, yeah, Reynolds was, man, like I said, all the away games we went to in the ACC was tough, man. But Reynolds was one of those tough opponents going into that gym, man. So I really, hated going on the road. But winning was very satisfying when you went on the road in the ACC,
Right. Yeah.
because it was tough to do. It was tough to do, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember. Did we beat y'all there, Chris?
I tell you, I know the one year
remember.
you guys were up probably 15 at halftime. That's the game Rodney went for 47.
Wow.
And we ended up coming back and winning. I don't. Hey, you weren't guarding them. You were guarding me. I probably had 4 or 5, so you were okay.
Yeah. I don't remember us winning there. So 2 years, I don't know if I won there, but I just used to always fear to going over to the visiting team in the ACC because I know it was going to be tough. It was going to be a tough run.
Very tough. Yep.
Let's jump to 2024 to the NBA, guys. And you guys are all used to the media. Your playing days. The Minnesota Timberwolves, when in the Dallas Mavericks series, they boycotted the media due to criticism of Rudy Gobert and Karl Towns. What do you guys think about that? Players refusing to talk to the media over criticism.
For me, I didn't think that was right. Just do the job. You lose, you don't play well, you got to sit down and speak to the media. You can't cry about it and set up team rules and all of this nonsense. But I didn't buy it. But but that's what these young players are doing nowadays. They got more control. And I don't know. Back in the days, if we would have did that, we probably got fined.
Easy.
I'm not sure. They must have got fined. I know that. But you can't. After a game, you lose, you win, you sit there, you explain it, why you played bad, and move on. That's all. It's just, that's what I felt about it.
So I thought that I try to take a positive out of everything. I guess the good thing is that they all stuck together. That's a good thing. But now, you got to know, like when you playing, like I remember. I can't remember which coach was it that told us, but he told us don't read the papers because you're gonna love the good things they say and you're gonna hate the bad things they say. So if you're gonna listen to the criticism, now these players now, like we didn't have social media, so in my, I think that I'm glad we didn't have social media because if we had social media back in the day, if a reporter had something to say about me. And I got my little Twitter account. I'm about to get on my Twitter account. I'm about to fry him. You know what I'm saying? So you got the opportunity to fire back if you want to. And I know like Stephen A. Smith and I think they were mad at Draymond Green and Kendrick Perkins. They were all killing Gobert about his defense. I mean, dude just won Defensive Player of the Year. Now you got to have some thick skin. You got to have some thick skin, but also you got a platform. If you don't like what somebody's saying about you, Draymond Green gonna probably play next year. Okay, a nice hard foul. Then hey, that's for what you said about me January 5th of 2024. Give them the date or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that they should have done the interview. You can't, that's your job. That's part of the job. You know what I'm saying? Like signing autographs is part of the job. You know what I'm saying? So somebody asks you to sign an autograph, go ahead and sign it, keep it moving. Whether you just scribble, a C and scribble and a B and scribble and a number. Just sign it. It's part of the job. So just do your job, keep it moving. And like I said, you got a platform. If you want to fire back, fire back.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with both of y'all. I mean, a little more on Kenny's point of you know what, you have a job, you've got to
Yeah,
do it. I thought it was in bad taste. You can't pick and choose
yeah,
what you want to do.
yeah,
You're getting all this accolades.
yeah,
You got to take some tough questions too. But that's all part of what you signed up for. You're being compensated greatly for it. You have an
yeah.
obligation. It's not just
Right.
I want to do this, I don't want to do that. You gotta play within the rules, whether it's good or bad. So I do
Right.
agree with Kenny. It was just a bad look.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Gilbert Arenas. Everybody knows Gilbert Arenas. He has a podcast. And recently Gilbert Arenas said that Steph Curry is not a generational talent. I disagree with him, but I want to hear what you guys think about this statement.
I'll let Chuck start it.
Okay. All right. So now, in my opinion, a generational talent, is someone who comes along once in a while, but they also change the game. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a generational talent. I think Michael Jordan was a generational talent. I think LeBron James is a generational talent. Now, we didn't see all these damn three-point shots until this Joker here came. So, and I mean, like he was bombing them from
Oh, man.
like from where,
The
like
locker
from the
room.
locker room.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to disagree with Gil.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think Gilbert may say some things to try to get the poke and see.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see where this can go. But
Yeah.
I disagree. But it's his opinion. It's his opinion. If that's what he thinks. But to me, a generational talent is somebody that changes the game, and I think Curry changed the game. He changed the game not only on the men's side but the women's side. So I'm gonna have to say, Gil. No chill, Gil. I disagree. You know what I'm saying? So, I think Curry is definitely a generational talent because he changed the game. I think generational players change the game. He did that.
Yeah, definitely. Just what Chuck was saying on the 3-point game. That's all the game is about right now. It's 3-point shooting, the lane. There's no stretch four. It's stretch fours now. Shoot the ball, 3-pointers, easy drives to the basket. It's a different type of basketball now, and it's due to Steph Curry. I'm telling you, he can shoot. She shoots the three. Damon Lillard shoots the three. There's a bunch of NBA guys, point guards shooting the three now. And that's the name of the game. That's where it's going. And because of
you got
Curry,
7'6" dudes like Wembanyama and Joker. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. My bad.
No,
But go ahead.
You got everybody's putting up threes now because of Steph Curry. Yep.
Yeah, no, I totally. I mean, it's hard not to agree with both those takes. At Chucky's point, everybody has their opinion, but man, that one's. I think sometimes when you look at his statue, where he's he's not that big, he doesn't play above the rim, but he's changed it in different ways. Jordan changed it just with his explosiveness and his style. But Curry, as you guys mentioned, the game has changed. Everything's perimeter. You see very few, big men in their post, and it's wide open. But it's amazing. I tell you what's really amazing to me, when he was at Davidson, I thought, I'm obviously a bad judge of talent because I thought he'd be a nice player. But by no means did I ever think he was going to be, MVP, top, 3 players in the league. I didn't see that at Davidson. I thought, this guy's going to get pushed around a little bit. He's going to come off the bench and do his thing. But man, what he has done has certainly changed the game, in my opinion.
Chris, you and me both didn't see it coming. And the person that said they saw him being an all-star and all this is a liar.
It's a liar. Yeah. There was a few teams that passed up on him. I don't know where to get drafted, 10, 11 or something. I don't know where he got drafted. But, there's a few GMs that missed them too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I want to touch.
They're probably fired now, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I want to touch on one more point. before I let you guys get out of here. This morning, there were reports of Danny Hurley that Lakers putting together a deal to try to lure Danny Hurley to coach the Los Angeles Lakers. The family, that's a basketball family with his dad, as well as his brother Bobby. What do you think about Danny Hurley potentially taking the Lakers job?
Yeah, I say I don't like that. I don't like that. He need to stay in the college world, stay at UConn. They've been winning. He can deal with these young kids, these young men the right way. The pros is about the money, and he's not going to have that much control over them.
Right.
That's my main squeeze on that. What I'm saying, he has the ultimate respect at UConn.
Right.
The players respect him. They're listening. Pros is a whole different ball game, and I just felt it will just stay at UConn and get the job done. That's what he's doing. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'll say this. Go ahead, Chris. You go ahead, Chris. I got a better.
No, I absolutely think it would be a train wreck. He doesn't have the temperament to go in there. He's not going to yell at those players on the Lakers the way he does UConn. His temperament is perfect for college basketball. If he thinks he's going to take that same personality to the league, it's going to totally backfire on him. He's not the kind of guy that's going to be able to manage those type of guys with his personality. Now, can he change and be a little more laid back? I don't know. But his temperament is so much better suited for college than the pros.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with both of those takes on it. And, for me, he can look at it like this. Okay. And I'm gonna just say this. The Laker job, the Celtic job, probably the Knick job.
Yeah.
I don't think those are, if this is your first professional job, those are not the jobs for you, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now, Billy Donovan, to me, did it the right way. Billy Donovan came in, I think it was Oklahoma City, came, had some success. Now he's in Chicago. And Billy Donovan, to me, did it, the right way, how it should be done. Now, Danny Hurley can look at this. Okay, they're gonna offer me $32 million. I could take this $32 million. I could always go back to college, right?
Yeah.
It depends on how he looks at it, but I don't particularly like it either, because this is a team that you got to win now. And like Coach said, his temperament is not one, like the first time you yell at one of these dudes, like how is he going to discipline his star players? How is he going to do that? I know, like, the best coach at doing it during my time was Popovich when I was in San Antonio, and I heard him getting on Tim Duncan and cursing him out. I was like, well, let me get my little stuff together then, because he getting on him. What he gonna say to me? So how is he gonna discipline his star player? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a lot of factors that are going to go in there. So I mean, this is something that he needs to think long and hard about. And if he can, like you said, I don't know if he could just be a laid back dude. The NBA is 82 games. It's 82 games, and it's hard to be yelling and jumping up and down for 82 games, bro. It ain't gonna happen. You're gonna have, he gonna have to take what are them things the players take they take a break. He gonna have to take a game off. Because hey, he gonna have load management. If he gonna be jumping up and down, he gonna need load management. So I mean, it's just something we'll see how it goes. I think he is a good coach or great coach, whatever. For college though, I think for college, you know what I'm saying. So he's a perfect fit for college. Everybody, just like you have some guys that are perfect assistants. Some guys are just assistant coaches. They're not head coaches. They don't have success as head coaches. I think he's a perfect college guy. So I mean, it's up to him. If you want to take that $32 million though, go ahead and take that and bounce. I ain't mad at it.
That's what it comes down to. It's always the money, man. That's what you're saying. It's always the money. It's always. You got to be careful about that, though. You got to be careful.
Be careful. Yep. All money ain't good money.
Yep, you're right about that.
Hey guys, before we end this episode, I just want to say this is ACC royalty. Kenny Anderson, Chucky Brown, and Chris Corchiani. I saw you guys play in college as well as the pros. This is an honor, man, to be able to talk to you guys about the I want to say the golden age of the ACC, because there'll never be a time like when these guys came through the ACC, man. Especially the guard play. Bobby Hurd, Kenny Anderson, Chris Corchiani, Rodney Monroe, John Crotty. That those were special times, man. And I'm glad,
You can't forget your UNC guy, King Rice.
King Rice, there you go.
King Rice.
another
Rice.
New Yorker.
Yeah.
And he's giving a shout out.
Yeah, Jeff Lebo as well. Jeff Lebo was pretty good shoot.
Derek Phelps also, he a Queens dude. He went to UNC. Derek Phelps. Oh, wow. There's a lot of competition in the ACC, buddy.
Yeah. But Chris, I want to open the floor up to you, man. If you have anything you want to say, again, we appreciate you coming on this platform.
Well, I mean, this has been so enjoyable, being able to reconnect with Kenny and to be on a podcast with two great players, great people is special. My only thing is the New York Yankees hat and the Kansas City Royals hat. I need somebody with the Philadelphia Phillies hat on. But really enjoyed it.
I got my New York cap. I would have wore that, man. I'm a Yankee. I'm diehard Yankee, baby. I'm diehard Yankee.
Hey, Kenny, you at the finals, right?
Yeah, I'm in Boston. Yeah, I'm going to the game tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. This is Dropping Dimes podcast. Chris Corchiani, Kenny Anderson, and Chucky Brown. Until the next time.
It's getting hot, ain't it? It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot, ain't it? It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot, ain't it? It's getting hot in here.